Welcome to the SoberQ podcast.
My name is Rachel, and I am an alcoholic. My sobriety date is August 22nd, 2016, and my home group is the Shark Island Attitude Adjustment Meeting in Newport Beach, California. Step 8. How did we become willing to make amends? When I surrendered after a grueling physical addiction I developed to vodka, I not only conceded to my innermost self that I am an alcoholic, but that I was willing to go to any lengths for sobriety. I was going to make my recovery colorful and fall in love with sobriety. I needed to get honest, work with the sponsor, and work the 12 steps in AA, following exactly what the Big Book directs me as a program of action and designed for living. Step 8 was going to be a vital yet scary step for someone like me who lived in fear my entire life. I pray for willingness to be willing. My apologies without changed behavior became my biggest form of manipulation, and I couldn't see it being a victim. I suffered childhood abuse in an alcoholic home. My marriage was verbally and emotionally abusive. I drank at people, places, and things. When I did my inventory in step 4 and shared it in 5 with my sponsor, I was to find my part in everything with my resentments. I was told victims don't recover, and from that moment on, I stood taller and took responsibility. I was told to trust the process. The beauty of that inventory was it gave me the list for step 8. I continued to take contrary action, and at that time, I began feeling I was experiencing a personality change sufficient to bring about recovery, as stated in the spiritual experience in the Big Book. It took time for my family and friends to see after the torturous years of my alcoholism. Humility was and is my guiding principle today. The prayer of St. Francis I read daily reminds me, where there is discord, I may bring a spirit of forgiveness. It is forgiving that one is forgiven. The person I needed to forgive was myself in order to forgive others. I meditated on becoming a channel of thy peace, as the prayer says. The people on my step 8 list were ultimately my spiritual blocks, and my amends were contingent on my recovery. In the rooms of AA, I saw examples of willingness. People spoke of being able to right the wrongs done to others. Young ones that were running and gunning the streets said their mothers loved them and their fathers trusted them. This step became a vital one to begin the reparation process. I wanted that. I looked at the list and began to realize many of my amends to move forward were going to be my living amends to my ex, my children, family, and friends. Change behavior was my action. I began sponsoring. My spiritual experience catapulted. The God of my understanding was far greater than anything I drank over. My ego was smashed. Applying my asset thinking of the spiritual principles to my character defects showed me the correct way to change my behavior and my harms I had done to the ones I loved on that list. Although many of my circumstances I didn't sign up for, I could still see I had a role. My children have forgiven me and said that without my struggles, I couldn't have become this version of myself I am today. A new friendship has begun with my ex to co-parent my children. I had to rely on faith over fear with step 8. AA isn't my whole life, but it's absolutely my way of life today. Acceptance is the answer and willingness is the key.
If you would like to share your experience on a recovery question, visit the SoberQ podcast website at soberq.com. Thanks for listening.